Greetings, I'm Rick Ward. I'm an investor, an entrepreneur, and a wealth architect with Working Class Wealth Creations. I've put together this little mini-series. It's made up of excerpts from my upcoming book, My Road to Wealth. Each little episode will give some handy hints for you as a beginner, as an investor, to help you along with your journey as a first-generation wealth creator. So let's have a look at this episode on circles of influence in investing, coming up right now. Okay, let's talk briefly about circles of influence. Now, where I really learned this lesson was again up in Port Hedland, like I said in the previous lesson, about being social, getting out and finding out who the players are. In Port Hedland, I had an inside connection. The maintenance guy at the local lodge, where the accommodation most of the workers, and probably about the only main accommodation in town, really. He was my introduction. I got to have dinner with him, and so the managers of the lodge and all the people I found out that were quite influential in this community were there, and they had dinner with the maintenance guy, and I had dinner with them, and I got to know them. Then I started to learn about investing because they were all business people and they were property investors, and they all worked for a primary investor, the real mover and shaker of that area. But he lived in China and he hardly ever came there, but he started off, and they told me his story of how he made money through that and how they've made money just being around him. Then I started to find out with the agent has his short list of people that he knows he can sell to. I made myself on that list eventually. I was usually getting the first calls, property come on, here it is, you interested? He had to keep other people happy, so sometimes I wasn't his first call. If I was already doing a project or I had one recently and he found a good deal, he would pass it on to somebody else because he needed his own network of buyers to keep everybody happy. He couldn't give me every deal, and basically I couldn't handle every deal. But he would do that to keep his close circle of buyers. And then after that, then he would go to this circle, these people at the lodge, and they would basically have their pick of the properties that are available, what they want. And then after that, then he would go through a list of other potential buyers. People had made inquiries and things like that and try to match it up. And then from that, they would advertise and go out to the general public. So I started off here in the general public, and then working my way into the circles of influence of what I want, and then what I bought, and working my way up to that top circle, which I did over time. But through this meeting around the table, there was a list of 5 properties. How I found out how this worked is they're all talking about these properties that were owned by BHP that they were getting rid of. And they were all going to go around and pick out which one they want. And I was very curious of how they even knew about these. They must have connection with BHP. But it turned out at the end of the day, it was actually my agent that provided all this to them. And that's when I learned how that circle worked. And so they all went through and picked out the ones they wanted. There was one that none of them wanted. The carpet stunk. They walked in the door and like, ugh, and they just walked out and went to the next one. I was made aware of it through them, not through my agent, through them, that this property existed. They all chose which one they wanted, and then I said, well, I'm interested in that one. I'll go have a look. Then I contacted my agent, and he's like, oh yeah. And then we went over and had a look, and sure enough, you opened the door, and they must have had lots of pets, and the carpets just reeked. It was really kind of almost gag as you walked in. But I walked through the property and looked at all. It had good bones. It was a good sized property. It was in a good location, nice corner block. The kitchen had some issues, but mainly it was just the carpet. I knew the carpet stunk. I know once we ripped them out and repainted, all that would be gone. It wouldn't be a problem. So I told my agent, yes, I want this property. And we made the offer. And getting those properties, you get them when you're dealing with major companies like that. They do just a basic valuation, and there's not much negotiation. In a future deal, I got my brother-in-law in one of these deals, and he was able to negotiate a lower price, but very unusual. And so when those come up, the commercial company wants X amount of dollars, you just offer X amount of dollars, and it's done. It's a cold transaction, nobody cares. They don't spend time on negotiation because somebody will offer it because it'll be a good price. It'll be a bank valuation, which would be usually quite low. So again, let's take the time to get to meet people, know people. If I was going boots on the ground, you need to be up there moving in these circles to have the best opportunities come to you and to have people watch out for you. Well, I hope you found those tips helpful. And if you did, give me a thumbs up. This comes from an excerpt of my video book, My Road to Wealth, so look out for that. This is the kind of content that you're interested in how to create, manage, and retain your first generation wealth. I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, and you can contact me directly on my email, workingclasswealthcreations@gmail.com, or you can follow me on my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. So until next time, this is Rick Ward helping you on your road to financial independence.